Hello, everybody. Hope that we're live.
This is 29 Acacia Road, and this is Eric, the schoolboy who leads an amazing double life. For when Eric eats a banana, an amazing transformation occurs. Eric is Banana Man, ever alert for the call to action.
Okay. There we go. Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing? As you know, we have Eric the Banana Man. So, hi, Eric. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Eric, are you there?
I am. Yes. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you for a minute.
I think it froze. It froze for a second there.
Yeah, I lost the Banana Man. Oh no, he just died. Anyway, as you can imagine, we have a very large group of people here tonight. I mean, everybody is ready for the epic Banana Man interview. And like I said on Twitter, lower your expectations, guys. Lower your expectations.
You really should lower your expectations.
Yeah, because hey, we're just regular people, just like you guys. You know what I mean? But it is epic to me to get you on here because you're not seen. So thank you very much for coming to Linda Low Budget Productions and making an appearance.
It is my pleasure, Linda. And it's only taken us about a year. I've keep saying the year, just a few more months. So it's about time.
Yes, and I thank you so much. I'm glad you nailed it down. And I know a lot of people have tried and haven't been successful. So I'm going to do that because I am proud of myself. But anyway, I want to welcome like pretty much everybody that's here is, from our community. It would take me so long to announce names. So please, if I missed you, I'm going to start at the top as far as I can, and I'll go as fast as I can because this can take some time. Carl, Becca, Radical Girl, BB, Jane, Sean, Lulu, Justice, Fen, Miss Piggy, let me see, keep going. Tracy, Tina, Rod H, I'm not sure, Susan, Alice, and J-Jax, and Jay, and we know who that is. You're next.
I'll just say hello to everybody. Because I'm a typical man and I can't multitask, so I won't go into the live chat and try and say hello to everyone.
Right. So anyway, if I missed your name, sorry. But anyway, so Eric, right straight to the questions. I'm going to get you with, where did you come up with your name?
The name, well, I decided to join Twitter because of people on Reddit, because I was on Reddit first. And quite a lot of people who I speak to on Reddit were saying, "Oh, you should join Twitter because there's loads over there as well, and we all speak about the case on there." So I didn't want to use my real name, so I was just thinking of a name that was a bit funny to use, and so I started thinking about when I was a kid, and I remembered the Banana Man cartoon, so I just thought that would be a good one to use.
It's catchy. You will not forget it, that's for sure. So I'm going to ask like the same questions, and then I'll take questions from our chat after a little bit here, but I'm going to ask it the same questions I ask everybody. What made you start doing this wrongful convictions, or even just standing up for Stephen and Brendan?
Well, like most people, I watched Making a Murderer. I think it was probably early 2016 when I watched it. And then I didn't really do much after watching it. I think I sort of Googled it a bit and tried to find out whether or not, I mean, I thought they were both innocent, but I wasn't 100% sure. So I tried to do a bit searching. And most of the stuff on the internet that I found was just sort of reviews of Making a Murderer rather than sort of in depth about whether or not they were innocent or guilty. I did find a few things they were just in like cheap online sites like Radar News and stuff, and they were sort of just the type of thing Kratz would say because it was like a little It was little things like saying that they bought handcuffs and leg irons and all that, but it didn't tell you they were just novelty ones. So
Right.
I'd read a few things and it made him sound guilty. So then I just sort of left it for a while, and then I eventually found Reddit and the TikTok Manitowoc subreddit,
Yeah.
and I probably read that for about 6 months or more before I joined, and then I had a few usernames and then settled on my current username.
Right.
Yeah.
It's for that. I love it. I do. I remember the cartoon. Yeah. So you have been writing on Reddit since then. You've been posting on Reddit. Is that where you really started doing like digging in, reading some transcripts and stuff? I mean, I know you're responsible for doing some crowdsourcing, which I got, and I thank you very much. You and Julie Wessel. If am I saying it correctly, Julie?
That's that's probably how I would say it. Whether or not it's right, I don't know.
Okay, yes, and you two got together and you got the depositions. You weren't able to get the discs, but you donated the money, which was excellent, and I think that's wonderful. So, when did you start thinking like you really wanted to take deep, dig into it? Because you said you were going around and you were seeing kind of stupid things, and then you stuck with Reddit. Did it go from writing on Reddit to other things, or?
No, I think it was really reading a lot of stuff on Reddit, because by the time I sort of found Reddit, a lot of the great researchers had already done a lot of posts on like all evidence and stuff. So it was really reading through all of that got us more interested in it. And then I just did a few little posts just on little things that I found interesting, mainly just looking at people's statements and trying to pick out, sort of read between the lines of what they said and what they didn't say and stuff like that. But I'm not a researcher like some of the great researchers on Reddit. I just like to do little posts now and then.
Okay. Well, you can say what you like, but even me and JJax, remember we did a video on one of your posts for Reddit. So it was the one with, do you remember what it was?
Yeah, that was about that was the depositions, and that was to do with Peg and some of the others on how they did the interviews for the 85 case. Yeah, that was, I don't know if I would call that research, but
well, good point of view. How's that one?
Yeah.
Real good. Like, take a look at this. Did you realize this? Because no, I mean, I didn't. You know what I mean? I thought it was very fascinating. What a good find to me. You know what I mean? And that's what I find on Reddit. I find that kind of thing. They don't give you the complete answer, but they give you something to think about. And they do. You know what I mean? It's more like, hey, think about this and take a look at this. And well, I consider you like JJax, Henberry, a lot of them, you're out there and you're digging in. So, was it something that as it grew in you to do, like, because you want to make sure other people know about it too. And that's, great for you to do that research for all of us, because you do, so what makes you want to do that? What grew in you to make you do that? Because it just doesn't happen. You don't just say, okay, I watched this show and now I want to know what's going on. And you know what? I want all these other people to know what's going on too. So, I'm just going to dig in. I mean, is that how it happened for you? Because it wasn't for me. It grew,
Yeah, it grew over time. And I think it's, you just want people who are new to the case to understand the facts and not get swayed by, guilt as and other people causing trouble. I think it's just you just want the facts to come out, I think, is the main thing. Whether it's good or bad, I just like people to get the full story, the accurate story.
Right, because we weren't given it,
Yeah. And I think that's what's probably best about Reddit, is because you've got all the documents linked, you can always source your post or just point to a certain document and explain it much easier than say on Twitter. You can't really do a long post on Twitter and attach a document and all that type of thing. So
no, You can't. They need to give that up. I mean, there's so many people that use it. I love Twitter, so but you can't. You can't. So that's when you go to Reddit, or you talk to other people, and they, I mean, I don't know if you talk to other people, but I talk in groups. You know what I'm saying? So like Foul Play is where I go and we talk and we exchange things. So do you have mates that you do this with, that you go back and forth with things, or do you work it out in your own head? Or because my family wouldn't do it with me. They think I'm nuts. So
I don't know, none of me sort of mates, like long-term mates, I'd speak to about the case. So the only people I speak to about the case is people that I've met through Twitter and through Reddit. So
yeah, and met in person. I know some people that
yeah.
Jelly. Yes. Yeah. But I get
so last year there was a few of us went to the True Crime Night in London, and that was when all four the Making a Murderer lawyers, Jerry Butin, Dean Strang, Laura Narida, and Steve Drizzen were all guests on the show, as well as some other people. John Douglas from the FBI, the retired FBI, and that. So there was quite a few people that are talking. A live show in London, and so there was a few of us from Twitter met up for the first time.
Oh wow! Tell me about that. How was that, seeing the lawyers and hearing what they had to say? Because I know I've talked to Jane about it, and she gave me her views. I'd love to hear your views of what you thought you've seen there when you were watching them.
It was really good. Yeah, they were pretty candid. They answered nearly every question, I think, and they were really happy to talk about it all, and they talk about all other cases and stuff like that. So
talk about it in general, like wrongful convictions in general.
Yeah, in general, so I know like Steve Drizzen talked about other sort of young people that managed to get free and stuff like that.
Yeah. He's worked hard for, I mean, I got a lot of respect for them lawyers. They give a lot, you know what I'm saying? And you hear people putting them down and stuff, but you're not in their shoes. You don't know what legally they can do. And everybody seems to misunderstand that just because you find something doesn't legally mean they're going to get out for it. You know what I mean? Because look at the stuff that we found or you all have found, and people have found in this case that are like, really, is that really happening? So what is that for you? What is your, oh really, that really happened? How can this be the most shocking to you in this case that you've discovered or seen?
I don't know, there's been quite a few. I think probably the one that stands out fairly recently is Case File Reviewer from Reddit. He was the one that spotted that the battery in the RAV4 was the wrong size, and he did that through just one of the evidence photos.
Yeah.
And then he sort of announced that, and Zelna managed to get someone on her team to trace the battery to a fleet in Manitowoc. So that for me was a pretty big one.
Oh, I'm trying to kick myself out of here. Look at, I got myself 3 times there. That's ridiculous. Sorry about that. Oh, there we go. Ooh, now you're in the face. So you never know. But yeah, I personally, the thing for me is how they found their evidence. That's what I don't, that's where it's not that I don't think it's planted. It's that it's so stupidly planted that I can't believe nobody caught on. I mean, it's like, you don't think that after, first of all, the guy spent 18 years there, wrongfully convicted, okay, and he gets out and he's doing good, and he's got a suit coming up, and there's depositions happening, and now he's a murderer. he's the murderer of this missing girl because she was seen there last, which we don't know to begin true or not anyway. So I mean,
that is probably just the simple logic of it for me is, regardless of whether he got 1 million or 36 million, he was going to become a millionaire. That was guaranteed. And he was he was set on marrying Jodie at the time, and he seemed happy with Jodie. So I just don't see why he would throw all that away. Just makes no sense at all.
No, I totally.
And he knew the cops were after him anyway. So to commit a crime at that time would be absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it would. It's like you're throwing everything away now. For what? Well, it would have to be of 2 minutes of pleasure, and then an hour and a half of killing, and then how much would it, and then he has to clean up too. So I'm trying to fit all this in the timeline, and it just don't fit for me. So how could he do all that, in such a short time, and what for? Just because. If they ever come up with a motive, did anybody really ever stay outside of Kratz? I don't know.
No.
I mean, I don't know. But they never look at the boyfriend. And that's really strange to me. So, what is, Miss Piggy, I'll ask your question right now because it's way back when. Who is your villain in Making a Murderer? I think that was the question. Pretty sure it was.
I think Kratz has to be the main villain. Are we talking about suspects, or we're just talking about general bad people?
Miss Piggy, you want to answer that? She's in chat, so she's the one that asked it. And it'll take a second, and she should be able to tell me what it is in the case or disgraced DA. Okay, so that must be it. She has a disgraced DA. That is the queen of hashtags, by the way, Miss Piggy. Love you. Love your beautiful thing that you did with the world supporters. It's marvelous.
That was great. Very creative.
And if I could get it on my green screen, it would be behind us right now. But because it's a large GP something, my computer's not accepting it. So I got to figure a way to get it down to do whatever. But otherwise, I'd have it here. So.
In terms of villains, I think quite a lot of them really, but they're for different reasons.
Elaborate on all, especially Kratz. If you don't him, no.
Fassbender and Wiegert are obviously, because of Brendan, they're the sort of villains in that piece, definitely. But then you've got Kratz because of the press conference and just being a sleazebag. Fallon was a bit of a sly snake, but he sort of did it in the background. So there's quite a few villains.
Yeah, there is. There really is. But everybody says this person did this or this. Do you have a theory of what happened? Do you even go there, or do you just stick to the facts and wait for the court? I mean, some people have theories and some don't. And if you wouldn't mind sharing.
I don't really have a theory. I do think she was killed on Cuss Road or near Cuss Road. So that for me, it probably points more to Bobby because he was in the location. Ryan makes the most sense statistically because of being an ex and a bit of jealousy and whatever. He would be the most likely, but then Bobby probably had the most opportunity. And just, I don't know, maybe I would just slightly sway towards Bobby just because of a couple of little things Elna said, which was that she tested the Dassey garage with luminol. Just little things like that made me suspect she seems to be going further than what she may do if it was just a Denny suspect.
Right. You can kind of put pieces together what you think makes sense.
Yeah.
So, right. And I know you're a logical thinker. And they're all out here saying, O'Kelly. So on Brendan's side, which is completely different because of his words being his conviction with no evidence, which I kind of have a problem with because he is the one that said there was a bullet. So I kind of think that maybe should have been able to be used for his case, but they didn't bring it up. So what are your, where do you think they went wrong with Brendan? Was it right away? where do you think they should have stopped? Right away, soon as he was in there? Or, I mean, what's your views on that?
My views, I think that the targeted Brendan. They got to a stage where I think they had re-interviewed a lot of the family and put pressure on them. They kept interviewing Jodie in jail, and they were trying to get people to turn on Stephen, basically, because the evidence wasn't as strong as what they thought it was. And then I think Jodie left town not long before they interviewed Brendan, and I think they knew that he sort of was a bit slow and he would struggle in an interview, and I think they decided to target him, especially because they weren't having any luck turning someone, so
Right.
they decided to just sort of manipulate Brendan instead.
Yeah. See, I mean, so my thoughts are them grown men knew what they were doing, and there's just no way around. They could say, I didn't, I don't, what did he say? Assess psychological things or whatever, assess people, Fallon, or I mean, Fassbender said that. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't assess? I mean, isn't that part of your job of being a cop to know if somebody's of sane mind or not? You know what I'm saying?
If you were, I think if you're an honest cop, it would have taken you about a minute of interviewing Brendan alone to realise that he wasn't suitable to be interviewed alone. And I think any honest cop would have stopped that interview straight away and said, actually, we can't do this. We need an adult here. Simple as that. But they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, and I mean, I know in your country that would never happen. They don't do that. It would never happen. It would be thrown out, So, I mean, I wish we would be like that. But as you know, it's state to state. And, the state
it's getting there.
Well, which is me.
Slowly, but
Minnesota doesn't allow that. So, and, I mean, I'm thankful for that. But we have our wrongful convictions too. But nothing like this. I mean, just the whole look of it, you as a citizen looking at Stephen's case and Brendan's case, like in a whole, I mean, what are your thoughts on that in a whole as far as the justice system goes?
It's hard because I don't want to sort of generalize and think that I think it's probably quite a unique case, at least in the scale of it in Wisconsin. Like to actually I don't know to frame someone for murder, like, and that many cops be involved. I think that's fairly unique. There will be other cases where people get framed by cops without a doubt, and some of them will be murders. But I think that this particular case is such a big one.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know what's going on with my internet. It's like freezing up every time I touch the chat. So, guys, I'm not going to be.
One good thing about your system is, at least for the public, is that you can FOIA the documents.
You're not allowed to do that?
No, you can't do that in England. Even lawyers struggle to get case papers in England, in the UK.
Wow.
So we can't even the public can't even see arrest records or anything like that here. So that's the total difference from us to you. At least you can do that, and fair enough, you might have to pay to get some of the documents, but at least that gives like even just general public a chance to help someone. Whereas in the UK, that doesn't happen at all.
How do you know who's wrongfully convicted in your country then? I mean, if you can't look at documents, do you know what I mean? I mean, we're lucky to do that.
It's really hard. In the UK, there probably is a lot more wrongly convicted than we know about, simply because people don't have access to them. So it's harder to get appeals in the UK as well. Much harder to get into the appeals court.
Do you have? I know you guys don't have the death penalty, right? No, you don't have. Good. I mean, I used to kind of be for that, and then I mean, kind of wishy-washy about it, but now I'm definitely 100% totally against it,
Yeah.
especially the federal. So I'm all for that. Stop that. Is there anything that a citizen that you think of us Americans, if you were in this country and you were an American, that you would do to try to help Stephen and Brendan that we're not doing? I mean, do you think of things like, well, I'd go write a letter to this, or I'd go over to this person, or I'd want to know this, or is there anything you would do if you were an American over here that you can't do from there?
No, I think everyone does the maximum they can, and I think everyone uses every avenue open to them. So there's nothing that I can think of that I would suggest. I think everybody's tried everything, even things that couldn't work, like contacting the president because he can't deal with state cases and stuff like that. But at least people thought it, tried it, So yeah, I think every avenue has been tried,
Right.
or is being tried.
Right. No presumption of innocence. What are you talking about, Miss Piggy? There isn't none, not in Wisconsin for sure. Brenda's confession was so worthless that it wasn't used to testify against his uncle. If that's the case, how did the jury find him guilty? It made no sense. Dr. Slickman's saying that. So I guess he's wondering if it was so worthless of a confession, why they didn't use it against him, why is he still there? What were your thoughts on that? Me? I think they're just corrupt. I just don't know how to explain it. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. I don't know for you.
I mean, I think his confession was the obvious case of a false confession. So, and it got pretty far in the court when it went to the en banc, and nearly did it just to be snatched away at the end. So I don't know. For me,
what are your thoughts on right there alone? The those briefs that were made, like 250 of them, I think, for Brendan, and them are supposed to like help, and that's from like all around, and they just like ignored it. I mean, do you think that's done on purpose, or do you think there really is a legal reason? I mean, in what they gave.
I think that was the Supreme Court, wasn't it, when they submitted the briefs for this, but the Supreme Court didn't hear it because they only hear about 1%, 2% of cases. I actually think if they had heard the case, they actually would have ruled in his favour. But because they're a higher caliber of judges, so I think they would have seen what was wrong with it much easier than the lower courts.
Right.
Who certainly the state courts can be biased because they don't want to overrule earlier decisions by their own courts. So, but I think if the Supreme Court had heard it, I think they actually would have ruled in his favour. But it's just one of those things.
Yeah,
it was always a very long shot to ask them to listen and take the case. But
right, I get that. Like, what really drives me crazy is that they will use Brendan's confession of what not to do. They use it as in training, what not to do. Do not use this. This is there's a 2-hour special by Drizzt and Knight Rider on this particular thing. And they're known across the board now to stop using that and use Brendan's confession of what not to do. But yet the poor boy still sits there. So to me, that there's something wrong in the system there if you're going to train somebody to not do this, but yet you'll hold somebody that it was done to.
I mean, everyone that sees his confession understands that it's false. I mean, even probably at least half the guilters think Brendan is innocent because the confession was a load of rubbish. So, I mean, when it's that obvious to that many people, how can the courts not see it? That's what I wonder. Yeah, it's hard to make sense sometimes of their decisions.
Right. And you're from the UK, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So there we have a lot of UK supporters and Australian supporters, and really basically from all around the world. And I mean, what do you think drives you guys from other countries to fight for Stephen and Brendan?
I think probably the whole access thing, like I was saying before, access to the documents and things. It's something we just don't have in the UK, so it gives us the opportunity to really dig our teeth into something and to be able to see all these documents that we could never see in the UK. We wouldn't even have transcripts or anything like that. So I think that just immerses you into it and really makes you interested in the case, and then you just spend hours and days and weeks reading. And
Okay, looks like we're ready for questions. Are you ready for questions?
yeah, I'm ready for
Okay,
questions.
here we go. ETM fangirl question: how is Eric Banana Man dealing with COVID over there? Side topic.
I think just like everyone else, I wear my banana mask, and I socially distance.
Yep, social distance. This is a great social distance, isn't it? I mean, you're like right here in my bedroom. Don't tell nobody, but we're, great social distancing. All right, we have another question from Tracy. When was the first time Eric thought Stephen and Brendan were innocent?
I think when I watched Making a Murderer, the first season, I thought they were innocent, and and then when I sort of did a little bit of googling, like I said, I read a few things that sounded like they were written by Kratz and made him sound guilty. But then once I sort of read it, once I found Reddit and started reading the actual case documents, I was back to knowing 100% that he was innocent.
Right, and you said no matter what guilters come at you, right? I mean, with their great stuff, I mean, I can't believe the things that they just stick on, and that's it. You got to look at those things and them things only. You know what I'm saying? Not how they got there or anything else. Doesn't matter. Okay, we have a question from, excuse me, from Miss Piggy. Do you think the Rab is destroyed like the bones?
I know a lot of people do. I personally don't think it is, simply because it's too big of an object to get rid of out of evidence. Now the bones were sort of, you had two things with the bones. One is it was a bag of bones, so it can be lost easier. And the other thing is they had the issue with the family. You can always say, "Oh, we had to return them to the family." Now the family aren't going to want the RAV4 back, and it's too big to just lose out of an evidence locker or even a storage place. So for me, it's got to still be there. I cannot see how they can disappear a whole car out of storage without anyone realizing.
Right, and Kate, she believes it's still there too. So I mean, she knows more than we do. As far as I always think of that. She knows more than we do. She's not giving it all away. She's holding on to
But
something.
if it is gone, she's being smart there by saying it's definitely there. I've been told it's there, because if it turns out it's not there, then she's already stated that they told her it was there. So
Right. So she's got millions of people saying,
yeah.
So okay, there was that other question. Just I'm not asking that, Jane. I'm not. That's embarrassing. Maybe later on. I don't want him to go off here now. Jane's asking inappropriate questions, Eric.
She's getting drunk tonight, so that's probably why.
Fish. Well, so she's on TikTok. Check her out. I've seen it. She can TikTok the hell out of you. My daughter's on that too. It's just amazing how she can do it. Question: what was more difficult, getting the depositions released to us, or making sure it was transparent so we wouldn't be accused of fraud? I like that one because so many people are so rude.
It was both things were hard. Initially, getting the depositions was quite hard. I emailed them, and the first response to my email was, I'm just going to bring it up here. Who are you? It seems like you are unwilling to identify yourself. That was their first reply to me asking about the depositions.
Now, well, you can't be anonymous. I mean, it says that, right? I mean,
But I did actually give me real name in the email as well. So I don't know why they responded like that. And then the next one was something along the lines of, this case is decades closed. What interest would you have in it and stuff like that? So basically, it took quite a lot of email and to even get them to agree to releasing them. So we negotiated a price, but I didn't tell them at the time that I was going to crowdsource the funds and I was going to be sharing them. They thought that it was just for me, although I never said it would be for my soldiers. I didn't say I was going to share them either. So they so we agreed a price for everything, initially for the transcripts, and then we set up the GoFundMe. And I had a tracker on my email, and I was checking, and the guy at Magnuscript, which was the core company, kept opening the email loads of times every day after the GoFundMe had set up. And then anyway, after we got all the money came in, I emailed them to say I would like to go ahead and purchase. And he came back and said, we were informed about a GoFundMe. And he was saying, we didn't know that you were going to share the documents. What's your intention and all this type of thing. So then it took loads of more emails to get him to agree to let us have them, because basically he thought that I was just going to keep them for myself. Although how he thought I was going to pay $4,500 by myself, I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah, just wants to read a book, right?
So I had to agree to all these stipulations about not sharing, about not reading out a full deposition online anywhere, and all these, basically the little message everybody got when I sent them the depositions.
Right.
That was the agreement that we made with them. So it was quite a hard slog. But in terms of the fraud thing, that was probably one of the reasons I didn't want to use me. For the GoFundMe, you have to use your own name, your real name for a GoFundMe. So I didn't want to do it because of that. But the main reason was I knew that certain people would accuse me of fraud, because I know Dassey family members have been accused of fraud from their GoFundMes and other things. It seems like anyone who sets a GoFundMe up gets accused by someone. So that's why we picked Julia, because she is like the cleanest Snow White queen of innocence you could get.
Yes, exactly. That's great. And, I mean, I appreciate it. And you don't have to tell me, because, I was a part of this. So we all got it, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you all got it as well. And
it's, I'm sorry, but to me, that's just a hateful heart that it didn't think of the thing and didn't, is like out there for the credit for it, not for the purpose of it. You know what I mean? There's a purpose why we do this. I mean, we don't get paid. Although, hey, I know you got your bags packed, and everybody in chat does too. My world tour off my YouTube money, because I'm making it. You know what I'm saying? So they say you make tons of money off of YouTube. You don't. And any money that I do make, it's gonna go for Brendan. That's just how I feel. So and I've announced that before. So this $1 million we're making, and we're all European, cruising, and we're taking the money and filling our pockets and living off of it is utterly ridiculous. Does that really, when you see that, does that piss you off, or have you gotten so used to it that you just go, oh, fuck them?
I think I'm used to it. I mean, it does still piss us off. It pissed us off that someone recently like said about the argo for me for the depositions that probably it was fraudulent, and we kept every receipt, every email. We posted screenshots of all the transactions, the fees, when we sent the difference to Stephen and Brendan because there was money left over. I mean, we went above and beyond to be as transparent as we could. And I mean, there was still people saying stuff about fraud. It is annoying, but
yeah, they just
but, it's just certain people who would know like to cause trouble on every subject. So,
ooh, Sue's got a good question again. She says, if you could talk to anyone involved in the case for 30 minutes, who would it be?
Probably Bobby Dassey. Probably Bobby Dassey, because I think I could tell if he was lying or not. So if I knew for certain what he saw and what time he left, then I think that would pretty much sway as to who the killer would be or wouldn't be.
Yeah, you would like to see like what's put in there by bias or what really happened, because we
Yeah,
don't know. I mean, he lied. We know that. That's
yeah,
been admittance of his own. So, do you know that's what you mean? Like find out what the real truth is.
yeah. And then if sort of his answers were indicated that he wasn't involved, then that would sort of probably confirm Ryan as the killer in my book.
Yeah, yeah. Because I was just going to ask you, who is your number one suspect? That was another question.
Well, I
So,
think probably Bobby would be just slightly over Ryan.
yeah, like Ryan. Okay. Okay. Okay, Miss Piggy, I went up almost all the way to the top. So if you could just somebody could take well, here's one question for Eric. Has Tino managed to get over the fixation problem on your leg? J-Jax is asking for a friend.
um, actually, yes, because I got him. I got him in. He got an injection rather than get his
Snipped.
yes. I was thinking of a polite way to put it. Yes, rather than get that done, I got him. I got him injected, so it like takes all the testosterone away. Yeah, and so he's stopped humping his for now.
No, you stopped humping the leg. Okay, yes, J-Jack's asking for a friend. Hey, you never know what people are gonna ask you. But I'm sure that since he doesn't live next door to you, it was an ongoing joke somewhere along the line on social media. You know what I mean? So that's another thing. And on Twitter, we get a little crazy on Twitter. And by the way, Team Twitter, Linda talks to Twitter. I love you all so very much. If it wasn't for you, I do not think that I would have Eric on here with me right now for all your, persuasion and gentle pushing you did. I don't think it was so gentle in the end, but we did get him on. And like I said, I think it's great. And I owe that to the team. So thank you. Got to give what's due, what's due. And by the way, I want to make an announcement. Mystical Jinx is going to be interviewed. Can't say what network it is. And it's about the Don Lewis case. So watch for her to be on your TV soon. And if you haven't seen Ripper on Court TV, you can go on YouTube and you can see him on Court TV. So we got some stars. So there you go.
Jinx will be great.
Yes, Jinx will be great.
She will. As long as the interviewer doesn't make her laugh, and then all hell will break loose.
Yeah, her laugh is contagious. It really is. I mean, when I had her on an interview like this with, in Hangouts, we ended up being on there for 6 hours. So, so that goes to show you get involved. You know what I'm saying? Okay, question. Crockett Thomas. Oh, it's from Crockett Thomas. Thompson. Okay. Hi, Crockett. How are you doing? How does FL play the role in Brendan's release when Hamilton brought it up in the unbunk? Should it be proved planted?
I'm just trying to make sense of the question. Hold on.
Yeah. I think he wants to know if the.
I think because Brendan's appeal was only on his confession, so it was about the whether his confession was constitutional, I believe.
Yeah.
I think so. That is quite a narrow. I'm trying to think of the word.
It's a hard thing to prove. It's just words, and those are
Yeah,
the hardest thing to turn over. But I think what Crockett's asking, that when they talked about a bullet, remember when they put Laura on the spot there and said,
yeah,
yes. I mean, I think he kind of did that and threw her off. And I really kind of believe they did that on purpose. It sounded like they were trying to set her up to make something out of what she was saying, something that wasn't there. But
yeah.
I think that's what he's asking. Do you think that that's, what they were trying to do, throw him off with the bullet because it was his confession they were going on?
I think they probably naturally wanted to ask whether there was any physical evidence
Yeah.
to go along with the confession, but that particular question maybe did throw them off. It shouldn't really. The answer shouldn't have played any difference to the decision, because
Right.
it was only supposed to be about whether the confession was done in the right manner. So it was not even so much as what he said, it was about how they did it,
Right.
how they did the interview and everything.
Well, isn't that the judge, that one of them that said it made her skin crawl when she was watching?
Yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, that some of them just felt that it was wrong, but, they must not have seen the constitutional thing about it, is what I'm taking from it. I don't know. I don't know if they go by moral or, what straight law. That's what I think. Okay.
Yeah.
Joris wants to know, do you think there's one or two Ravs?
Joris knows there's only one Rav.
Like we were talking about that just before we came on here, and I was saying to you that I appreciate you being a logical thinker, because you really do have to be logical. I mean, you can go down these rabbit holes, and it's a lot of fun, and you learn a lot, but it's not anything they're going to be able to bring into court. So the more elaborate the story is, don't you feel that it's more, that's not the way it happened?
Yeah, for me, it's too convoluted to have two Ravs. There's hidden VINs in various places on a car. More than, I mean, if you can search on the internet about where the VINs are on the car, but there's ones stamped in the chassis and other places that you don't know about. And it would just be, I don't know, it's just too much. Why bother? It's just too much trouble for that. I think once you know the paint is two-tone paint, so it's a mixture of two colors, and it's metallic as well, it will react differently in different lights, and even just different cameras will show the lighting different. I think as soon as you know about the paint, then you understand that's why it looks different.
Right. It's the same model. And I mean, really, what would be their purpose of having two of them? They're trying to prove it's hers,
Yeah.
And the lack of her DNA being in there as it is questionable. You know what I mean? So, and mixture, let's say, of their DNA is, I mean, every part of the evidence, as far as I'm concerned, is very questionable. I don't think any of it's legit for sure, but that's my view. So, okay, let me see. Alice, from Alice, Miss Piggy. Oh, question. Do you think the disgraced DA has squealed and moved away for the 100,000 reward?
No. It would be nice, but no. Maybe Leah has. I don't know.
There you go. The little girl, she might have been. They grew up enough to know that, hey, I can take that money, Daddy, and you're going to go to jail. You know what I mean? I don't know.
It would be nice, even without the 100,000. It would be nice if Leah decided to come clean with some of the pillow talk between them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I don't think he could get it, right? I mean, if he was telling some of this,
No.
he wouldn't be able to get it because he's involved in it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, no, then, and I really don't think, I think they'll get out before that 100,000.
He would never come clean, Kratz, anyway. I mean, he still refers to it as both Brendan's case and Stephen's case as two wins. They're
Yeah,
the biggest two wins of his career, and so he wants this. He wants the verdict to stay for us forever because they're the most two famous wins he's ever had. So,
oh, yeah. Let me see. Crockett. Okay. Doing the Rev for sweep was way too risky for planters. You needn't place biological evidence from Stephen into the vehicle along with, oh, that's Dr. Suckman. It wasn't a question. I'm still looking for, okay. Where's the other question I found? Grind and Gears says, haha, right. Leah could be the one who's got the 6-figure now. Exactly. Pillow talk. They're laughing about that one for sure. That question the question was from Miss Piggy at the DA, not from her. Okay. Any more questions, guys? Because otherwise, I'm gonna let him question you guys. No. We're gonna turn this around on you. Didn't know that was happening now, did ya? We got a twist for you here at Linda Low Budget. Let's get going. You know what I'm saying? Let's give them hell, huh, Eric? Banana Man, they were giving us hell all day long. But I kind of fed into it too. Okay. We got that question. And we got the 1 or 2 Ravs.
Actually, while it's quiet, I'll just say a little thing about Eric Cozy. Obviously, very sad to hear it, like everyone else. And I think, I mean, I didn't watch a lot of his stuff for a long time because I thought he was sort of discussing the case a lot in detail and talking about theories and that. Because I used to see his name sort of mentioned on Reddit quite a bit and Twitter, and everyone always spoke highly of him. But I always like to read the documents and make my own mind up about something rather than watch someone giving their opinion, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So I didn't watch his stuff for a long time up until about last year, and then I think I watched Mamathon, and then I saw actually what he's about. He's about bringing he was about bringing everyone together to talk about the case, not just the case, but lots of things. But his strength was to get everyone talking and to bring everyone together, and
right.
it's going to be a big loss.
Oh yeah, I feel it. I really do, because I was a part of the wrecking crew from the get-go, so he means a lot to me, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'll keep doing it, because he said, Linda, you're the only one that's doing this out there, getting out there and talking to supporters. And the more you can talk to supporters, and supporters can see that supporters are real people, that they are on the same path as you, it'll bring people together. And I believe that. I really do. I believe the more
and I never heard him say a bad word about anybody, and he was never involved in drama. He never had a bad word to say about anyone. I even saw someone criticize him for not getting involved in drama, and I think that's a ridiculous thing. They were criticizing him for not criticizing other people, and I think that's just ridiculous. He was just a nice, big-hearted person.
Right. He's the eternal warrior, the eternal warrior, I think they call it. I do like the songs that have been made for him by Stacy, which a lot of us were a part of, saying Eric Cozy. So, and then Brendan's with Tracy Strenzi's slideshow. It's very touching. It shows Eric Cozy from like so many different interviews and things he talked about. It's really touching. So that's really good too. So, and the support from the community has been enormous. I mean, we are a bunch of loving people who really do care, and I know that their family, it's helped them a lot. I mean, You know, I mean, so make sure that you guys are joining in on the 29th, 3 o'clock Central. I'm not sure what Pacific time but there is on the website, Julie Pom Pom's been putting it on there. You can see, aha, there you go, guys. Told you there'd be a surprise. There he is. You get to see him. Ta-da, the Banana Man. I was getting ready to close, and then he's like, I'll go on. So, girls, calm down. Don't start flooding him. He's a good-looking gent, isn't he? So look at that costume. That is so cool. Look at bloody hell. They're saying Banana Man. Aha. Hi, Eric. Hey, fellow. They're just flooding in here. They're just, oh my God, what is that? Banana Man. Jinxie, all your great supporters are okay. One question. Okay. From Malaya. Was it more Brendan or Steven's case that brought you to the work of the case?
Both equally, because of Making a Murder. That I think Brendan sort of pulls at your heartstrings more, just because of his age and how they treated him and everything. So his story is definitely one that sort of makes you more probably angry, I would say.
Right.
And I think with Stephen, you just probably, I don't know, amazed and flabbergasted that it's happened to him twice. It's like,
the luck of that. I think I'd rather be struck by lightning, because the chances of that happening twice are way, I mean, it's got to be 1 in a trillion that this would ever happen to somebody, I would think. Question, pull out. No. Okay, I'm not going to say that. Oh, okay. What do you think the Court of Appeals is going to decide? That's what the main question is. People are asking. Sue Jones.
I think they will decide on an evidentiary hearing. I think that's like the least of their options, the lowest one that they could take, and I think that sort of it won't be acceptable to the state, but it's like the probably the easiest thing for them to deal with as well. It throws the ball back in their court. It basically says, well, if your evidence is as strong as you said it was at trial, then all you've got to do is present it at the court again, and we'll decide. So and on the other side, it doesn't let Stephen out straight away. So people who think he's guilty can't immediately say you're letting out a murderer. It's just giving everyone a chance to go through the evidence again. So I think that's what they'll decide, hopefully, anyway.
And eventually, a new plan. And of course, I believe that blown out of the water. In fact, I think the state will say, well, there's enough evidence here to say that, we screwed up. You know what I mean? But Eric, thank you so much for being a part of this show. Thank you so much for everybody making that epic show, which it was. I enjoyed it.
You're welcome. Thanks for getting us on, Linda.
Yep, thank you. Everybody else.
Thanks to everyone for the questions and everyone having a laugh in the chat. I've missed it all, but I'll catch up on it all.
Yeah, I hope you will too. So everybody, like I said, thank you for joining. Always be kind and keeping others in mind, and we'll see you again. Thanks, Eric.
Thanks, Linda. Bye.